Welcome back to the Rhonda Swan Show, guys. Tonight, we have a very special guest. In fact, recently, he has been called the Robin Hood of investing and is creating opportunities for families and early entrants to investing to accrue wealth and financial freedom. Many of you know him as Uncle G and the founder of Cardone Capital. That's right, guys. My next guest is Grant Cardone. Grant owns and operates 7 privately held companies and a private equity real estate firm called Cardone Capital with a multifamily portfolio of assets worth over $2.6 billion. He is one of the top crowdfunders in the world, raising over $650 million in equity via social media. He's been featured on season 2 of Discovery Channel's Undercover Billionaire, where he takes on the challenge of building $1 million business in 90 days. And he's been voted the top marketing influencer to watch by Forbes. Cardone uses his massive 15 million plus following to give back via his Grant Cardone Foundation and nonprofit organization dedicated to mentoring underprivileged and troubled youth in the financial literacy space. It is my humble honor to welcome you, Uncle G, come on the show. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great, and I've always wanted to get to Bali. I get close, and then I just don't get there. So hopefully this year we'll get over there, and you can show me around.
Well, it's a bit of a distance, but we definitely would love to have you here. It's I
have a piece of equipment that can get us there, though. So
okay, so that wouldn't be so bad. I might follow you back. All right, so. Grant, I'm super pumped to have you here. I've got lots of questions because I have been really digging deep into what you've been up to. And I wanted to really start because I know you and most people know you for your online business stuff, all your sales training and educational platforms. So where did real estate investing come in and why did you really tap in to real estate investing?
Yeah, so, my other platforms that you know me for, we've done about $1 billion, $1.2 billion of sales over the internet. We do about 100, we'll do about 160 this year. These are books, audio programs, training, webinars, challenges, big, large conferences. We do a thing called the 10X Growth Conference. We did one here in Miami, 34,000 people. Tickets are 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. So I've been really fortunate and successful in those businesses, a consulting business that has done hundreds of millions of dollars for Fortune 500 companies, teaching them how to increase revenue. And quietly, for the last 30 years, I've been buying real estate. I got a little noisy about it here in the last 3 or 4 years as we accelerated what we were doing. We own 12,400 units by the time I close this year out. These are mostly Class A, $1,800, $1,900, $2,000 a month apartments. In America, apartments are really the new way of living. These are very amenity rich, beautiful swimming pools, great locations, a lot of security, social setups where there's 300 to 500 families and single people that are able to live in one location in very vibrant cities.
Well, this is the thing. I love what you're doing because it reminds me of a statement that I actually recently read, and it said that Cardone Capital has actually started to be called the Robin Hood of investing. So elaborate on that because I really love that because I know where you're going with this, and I think it's really brilliant.
Yeah. So what happened was I've been doing this for 25 years, buying real estate for myself. And at some point you're like, okay, well, at that time, I think I had 5,000 apartments paying me, $2,000 a month. I mean, if you do the math on it, you see how much money's coming in. You can't spend some of this money. And then my wife and a partner in the business, Ryan Secco, said, hey, we need to start letting our friends and family and our followers participate. Mm. So this was 3 years ago. We offered a fund to my friends on Instagram, and boom, all these people started investing with me. And then we started sending them checks out every quarter. This was mostly what's called accredited investors, people that make over 200 grand. Mm-hmm. And then I opened a second fund and a third fund, and then people became very appreciative. As I was sending people money, they started buying more of my products. So imagine, Rhonda, you invest with me. You send me 100 grand, I invest it, and I start sending you a check out every quarter. and you call me up and say, man, I really appreciate that big check you sent me. I want to go to your conference. All of a sudden, the investors became these very sticky customers. Yeah. These people that were like they weren't just raving about me now. They weren't saying, oh man, I read your book. They were like, you're sending me money. Oh. That is completely different level of feedback from an audience.
Yeah.
And
I love this because it's like you're really giving opportunity to someone that may have never had an opportunity. I mean, if you really consider it, most are really looking for much higher levels of investors, right? So, I mean, you started in your social media audience. I've never heard anyone doing that.
Well, nobody's ever done what I'm doing. Like, first of all, I'm buying assets. We're buying this deal right now. This is in Fort Lauderdale. It's $230 million asset. Now, this isn't all just for the Robinhood. Also was doing something for himself, mm-hmm. right? So, you know, he had a purpose. So we started opening this up to the everyday investor, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, because 98% of my audience does not have $100,000. It has 5,000, 20,000, 25,000. So we 2 Fridays ago, we opened this deal. I buy this deal with my money. This is how it works. I buy it with my money and my credit, close the deal, and then I offer it to my audience. My audience can either buy it or not buy it. Either way, I'm buying it. I'm keeping it for my family. Or Rhonda, you could say from Bali, hey, I'm going to send you $20,000. You send $20,000, it goes into an account. When I close the deal, it transfers to your shares. You come in at exactly the same cost I did. And then I send you a check every quarter. I'm in control of the property. I decide when we sell it. I decide who we sell it to, or if we never sell it. So like the first goal is a double on money. The second goal, a better goal, is that we never sell this asset. I send you your money back in 3 or 4 years, and we keep the asset and the cash flow. It's really important for the audience to know that asset right there, $230 million, no one gets a chance to buy that asset. So I have figured out how to get into the system. These aren't rich people buying these. This is rich institutions, the wealthiest institutions on planet Earth. These are international companies that are buying these assets in this particular deal is in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And this is truly a way. I'm stealing deals from the super, super, super wealthy, not the wealthy. These are the super wealthy institutions, and then letting the little guy, it's not a handout. I'm not stealing and then feeding people. I'm like, hey, you want to be involved in this deal? Invest your money in it. I'll take care of your $1,000, your 10,000, give you an opportunity for a deal that could be a double, a triple, or even bigger than that. All
right, so this is big. I mean, you know, most people may not understand really what you're doing. So from what I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you purchase all 4 of the properties in the fund. You put it with your own cash and even with debt in place. And then you opened it up to both the accredited and non-accredited investors. So why is this such a big thing for your audience to understand this and the importance of it? Because I think some people would get confused on what's the accredited and what's non-accredited, and why did Cardone Capital open that up?
So first of all, I've raised almost $700 million from mostly accredited investors. Mm-hmm. The problem is the little guy's getting left out. My mom was a non-accredited investor. I was a non-accredited investor. 98% of everybody that's going to see this is not accredited, meaning you earn less than $200,000. But you're the one that actually needs the investment. It's not rich people that need it. It's the non-accredited. The whole system's completely backwards. The very people that need this investment the most, they make it hardest for you to invest. So there's 2 funds. Basically, there's an accredited and a non-accredited. Okay. The non-accredited person only has to put $1,000 in. You have to live in the United States, or you got to have a checking account in the United States, and your minimum investment is $1,000. The accredited, their minimum is $100,000. So I'm basically penalizing, not really, but that person, if they're accredited, they got to put more in, because I'm trying to make more room for the little guy. Okay. Now, just so everybody understands, it is very, very expensive for me to start a non-accredited fund. It takes me about 9 minutes to get approved for what's called a Reg D accredited fund. Accredited is over 200 grand. Non-accredited, under. It takes me 9 months, not 9 minutes, to get the non-accredited, the little guy, the everyday guy. That's how I grew up. Probably, Rhonda, the way you grew up in your family.
Yeah.
Oprah was a non-accredited. Jay-Z was a non-accredited. Warren Buffett was non-accredited before they became wealthy. Okay. The only way to create wealth is to invest. The only real way to become an accredited investor is to actually become an investor. So I'm doing something that has never been done before. I'm buying assets from Blackstone, the biggest insurance companies in the world, New York Life, MetLife. I mean, these are massive, massive trillion-dollar companies without exaggeration. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. I'm buying the asset that typically they would purchase with shares from their tens of millions of non-accredited investors, but they don't let you be a partner in the real estate. They give you a little piece of paper that's worth $1 or $2. I'm giving the investor, non-accredited investor, an opportunity alongside with the accredited, same terms, by the way. Every term is exactly the same except one thing, two things. The minimum for a non-accredited is $1,000. And the second thing is you get paid 4 times a year. The guy that sends me the bigger check gets paid every month. And that's just because those check sizes are bigger, so I can distribute. I can make sense of distributing monthly. And this is just a great place. I just did an interview about this and they said, man, if you mess this up, bro, you're going to wreck your brand.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's the thing, right? You're taking a big risk on this, right? So why the risk?
Because, I mean, look, sometimes you do things because it's the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. My mom, I was raised by a single mother. My mom never got a shot at these deals. I've been buying real estate for 30 years. I just figured out in the last 3 years how to get access to these deals. And by the way, these people don't like it. When I get done with this deal right here is $230 million. I have $500 million more in deals behind this. I buy all this with my money. So you guys got to understand, I don't really need your money to do this deal. I'm opening up to you. So one, I can actually do more deals selfishly. I want to get bigger, way bigger. But most importantly, I want people from all over the world, man, pulling for me. And the best way to get people to pull for me is to send you money back, to protect your investments, to take care of you. And people that I know, a lot of people don't like me. I start paying people, they're gonna be like, shit, I really didn't like him, but goddamn, I think I like him now.
You don't have to like it to receive a check. But,
yeah, exactly.
But let's just face it, like, let's be serious. You know, money people right now, you know, they're worried about what's gonna happen in the economy. So how are you seeing right now the way the economy is affecting investors? And what should they be looking out for? Like, what are you telling some of these non-accredited investors, right? They're like, I got my last $5,000, right? Like, I want to do this with you, Grant. What should you be looking out for?
Well, I would tell you, if you're down to your last 5,000, send it to this deal because inflation's destroying your money.
Yeah, right.
Inflation is here and has been here for some time. Now you guys are having to pay attention to it. When you're already broke. By the way, let's keep it real. You're down to your last $5,000, you're already broke. Get rid of the money, put it in an asset where it's going to grow 2 or 3 times. The next time you see it, it should be worth 2 or 3 times what it's worth today. And you get cash flow from it that you didn't have to work for. Cash is trash. Cash is garbage. And the goal is not to have cash. The goal is to have assets that inflate and go up in value and create wealth for you and your family. If you don't start doing it now, in the past, you really couldn't do it. The most you could do is buy a house.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, that's a good investment. That's actually not an investment. Even the SEC, when the SEC determines your net worth, they won't even include your home in that calculation. Now they would include that investment. If you put $100,000 in that investment, they're going to be like, okay, that's $100,000 that actually buys $400,000 of real estate. So every dollar buys about 3 to 4 times. So understand, when somebody puts in $25,000, they're really getting a $100,000 position in that asset because of the leverage.
This is big, though. I mean, I think that people really need to get this piece, because you just said something that most would never say. You said, by the way, if you got $5,000 left, put it into this. and because you're also broke and this is going to be your only opportunity to get something big. I mean, these are really bold statements, but I truly think this is what the world needs to hear right now. Someone that is actually saying, get on the cliff and jump, because what's going to happen? You may fly, right? And
well, you know, if you don't start investing now, when are you going to start investing?
Yeah.
And the problem in society today is most of us are investing in the leftovers.
Yeah.
We're not getting trophies. And that includes the entire middle class. That I'm talking to people now that are making $400,000 and $500,000 a year, even people that are making millions. You could make $10 million a year. You will never get access to some of these assets. You'd have to have $1 billion in net worth to even get the phone call. So I could call one bank will do this entire deal with me. I could get one check. I could get two checks. I'd get one from the debt because they're going to lend me $180 million on this deal. And the second check would be basically for $70 million from another group. And I'd put $10 million in. I can control this whole asset with $10 million. It'd be my check and two other checks.
All right. So I know the big question.
But I decided not to get the one check from Bank of America.
Right.
Instead, because they're dicks, okay? They're complete assholes. They're institutional. They don't wear hoodies, and they're no fun to be with. They're a bunch of white guys that are in corporate towers that have never lived life. They think living life is going to a strip joint and forgetting everything that happened while they were there. They're all white. They're no fun. They're boring. Same stories over and over. They have no guts. Everything's on a spreadsheet. I don't want to do business with them, and I don't need to, okay? I have 13 million people that follow me on social media, and most of them are appreciative. Most of them love me. All of them trust me. I've never hurt anybody financially, and the people are responding. So I'd rather do business with you, Rhonda, because you know what? If the world goes to hell, you're not going to call me up. I need a report right now. What are they going to do? They're going to send a damn group of people down here. And so this is for people that have a long-term vision. You got to have a good attitude to invest with me. I don't just want your money. If you got a bad attitude and everything that happens to you is terrible and you're a victim, please don't send me your money. I don't want it. So I'm hoping, I know I will change the way investing happens, and it's got to start with one group that does this. So these other big lenders and institutions, maybe they start opening up these investments to the little guy, not just me.
Yeah, I really love that. I mean, so if you think about it, like what then can people expect? I mean, I know that's always the question, right? Like, what can I expect from this? What is the ROI? What is what is your bigger goal here?
Yeah.
Like,
number one, you can expect that you will never lose your money. Number one.
That's bold.
There's a 99.9999% chance you'll never lose a penny. I would tell you 100%, but they don't want me to tell you that.
Yeah.
But I would tell you there's a 100% chance you're not going to lose your money because there's no way to get rid of that asset.
Yeah.
If you lose any money in that deal, I guarantee you the rest of the world got completely nuked. You just can't get rid of this much real estate. There's no fire that can burn the whole building out. Even if it did, it would be covered. So number one, you protect your capital. Number two, you get cash flow every quarter. I have never, ever missed cash flow. 30 years I've been doing this. I did it in 2010, 2020 through COVID. I did it in 1995. I did it through 9/11. I've never, ever missed. I've never not had cash flow from my real estate. So you're going to get a check every quarter. Number three, because we use very, very safe leverage or debt, it's just when do we double or triple the money? Yeah. So every 25,000 should turn into 50 grand, maybe 75,000.
I love it. Wow. I mean, this is stuff that, people don't usually hear, and nor do they hear it being confidently said. Right? I mean, but there's a lot of truth to where you're going with this. I mean, I know, like my husband and I back in 07, 08, right? We were in the big real estate bubble and we invested pretty much our whole nest egg. And we lost it all, right? We lost it all and we had to start over. And I know that's kind of some people are wounded and, they've got those fears. However, now, I mean, Warren Buffett always said, right? The the greatest wealth is gained during a recession. And I think this is the time. And instead of them doing it on their own, why not have someone like, you managing it? And
so, and let me just say, Rhonda, so like I have another company back here. It's a brand new company called 10X Incubators. 10X Incubators it funds startups. I had a friend call me and say, hey man, I'm gonna put $250,000 in your 10X incubator. What do you think? I said, bro, I think you could lose all your money. You need to understand these are startups. Okay. There's going to be no passive income. There's going to be no guarantee. This is a complete risk. This is an idea on a napkin that has not formulated yet. Okay. Like it can completely blow up. On these investments, if you don't want to risk your money, you cannot get rid of that real estate. It never goes away. It's just when I'm going to buy this deal for $230 million, and I bet money, if I don't do this, I'll buy everybody that invests with me a steak.
We're coming to Miami.
I bet I sell this for $500 million. I'm going to buy it for $230, and I bet I sell it for $500 million, one asset.
Yeah, I feel you there. All right, so I heard you say never compromise location. So how do you actually start then selecting a location when you're actually picking the right deal, especially with the last deal that you got? So
we shop the entire United States. We don't do Canada. We don't do international yet. We will one day. But I live right here in Miami, so I get to look at every single deal between Miami, Orlando, Tampa. I'm extremely well connected to the real estate community. I've done 42 deals, 30 of which are here. So everybody knows me. They know I can close. They know I move fast and I'm very credible. So that's how I get to look at deals.
Yeah,
we've also bought in 11 other states. So I got $4 billion worth of street cred.
Yeah, I love it, Grant. I mean, I love what you're doing. I mean, this is a massive opportunity. I'm so honored to actually be able to interview you here on my show because like my husband and I were constantly, investing and looking for new investments here in Bali. But when we heard this, I was like, okay, now we have to really talk to Grant because, Danelle Delgado is a really dear friend of mine.
Love Danelle.
That girl is amazing. And I was talking to her, she's like, you have to get that man on your show. You have to get that man on your show. Yeah. So when you put it out there, I love that lady.
Yeah, and do you guys get to the States much?
We do. The last couple of years we haven't been back because there's a lot of quarantines here in Bali, but we do come back at least once or twice a year.
Yeah. Yeah. And how's the COVID thing doing there?
It's pretty cool. I mean, we feel like we're watching a movie across the world, really, because it's, it's very controlled here. So they keep it protected, but it's been a good spot to be in.
Well, the crazy thing is when COVID hit here in the States in March of 2020, I was shooting a show called Undercover Billionaire. Yeah. And they dropped me off there and we had a non-accredited fund open at that time. It was a minimum of, I think the minimum was 25 grand. And people were putting money in. I get a phone call from Discovery and they said, we're killing the show. I was in Colorado shooting the show. I've been there 10 days. And I said, why are you killing the show? COVID, man. I said, fuck COVID. I said, I don't care about no COVID, man. Let's go. Let's do the show. And basically, for your audience, I was dropped off there. I couldn't use my name. I shaved my head. I had $100 to my name and I had to build $1 million business.
Yeah.
Well, so they stopped the show and I was just starting to get some traction. I came home. We stopped our non-accredited fund. I didn't have to, but I stopped it because I was worried about COVID affecting our properties.
Yeah.
So I called my group and said, stop taking money from the non-accredited because I didn't know if they were going to lose their job, number one. And number two, I was worried about the apartments, the renters not paying.
Yeah, right.
Rhonda, our collections through COVID were higher than before COVID.
Wow.
Okay. A renewal is when a lease is coming due and they say, no, I just want to stay here. I don't want to leave. I'm going to stay at the property. Our renewals went to the highest rates I've ever had.
Wow.
So we actually started buying more property because our properties, because of the location, a lot of it's in Florida, just great locations because people weren't going to work. they were spending more time in their apartments. And
Wow.
so we doubled down through COVID and this year in apartments, and it's really benefited our investors. And that's why I went back and opened up this non-accredited, because this is a passion, despite what the lawyers tell me not to do. This has been a passion of mine to equal the level the playing field.
Well, fall in love with your impact, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
like knowing what you're
exactly.
doing. I really love it. And, all right, so if I could ask, I know you got to get going. I know you've been on back-to-back shows, and it's literally like almost 12:40 here in the morning. We're so pumped.
Wow.
The whole team is like super excited.
Well, you look great for a midnight. I don't look as good as
Don't
you
worry,
do at
it's hair and
midnight.
makeup, baby. I'm not gonna fool you on that one. All right, but I did have some of my audience sent in a couple questions, and there was one specifically that asked, and I think I know one of the top recipes, but this gentleman, Rico, said, if I could ever ask Grant a question, what would be his top 3 recipes for success that you can share with our audience tonight?
Yeah, so number one is, you got to think big, way bigger than you're thinking. I mean, the biggest disappointment in my life has been my think has been too small the whole time. I have disappointed myself on the wrong side. Ooh. And I have exceeded everything that I ever thought I could do. And that has been the big disappointment of my life. I have literally, and I know other guys that say the same thing. Had I known, I could do more.
Yeah.
And I'm telling everybody, I don't care what your deal is right now. You're homeless right now and somehow listening to this message. You're going through a terrible relationship. You got one leg and one arm. I don't care what your deal is. I mean, I do care. But I promise you are underestimating your potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
So number one, that's the first thing. You got to think way bigger. Second thing is you got to get around people that believe in you. And just because somebody loves you don't mean they believe in you. Okay? Like mom and dad, brothers and sisters, they love you, but they don't believe in you. They tell you they believe in you, but how can they believe in you when they quit on their own dreams? So you cannot believe in my dreams if you quit on yours. So you got to get around people probably that aren't family, including your husband, your wife. Those are not the people. Like I got to come to work. My wife sleeps with me, right? She knows my limitations. She's like, he's good for 2 minutes. She don't know. I mean, she believes in me. I'm exaggerating that. She really believes in me. But you also got to get around other people, not just your wife and kids that believe in you. Third thing I would tell the gentleman is, you got to show up every day, man. Even when you don't feel like showing up, you got to show up. Like I show up 90% of the time when I'm showing up, trust me, I don't want to be there. So, but I still show up, and once I show up, I don't act like I don't want to be there. I show up and then I act like I want to be there. So that's what I would tell you.
I love that. That's really big. We always say, if you don't have energy to do the thing, just do the thing and you'll get energy to do the thing, right?
1,000%.
90% is just showing up. Grant, I really love you. I love what you're about. I just told my husband, Brian, I'm like, all right, get some money for Uncle G because we've got to get in on this. Like, there's no question, right?
Well, the other thing, Rhonda, is when people invest with me, and a lot of people are saying, man, not only am I happy to invest with you, but I'm happy to call you my partner.
Yeah.
Because this is a way for somebody. The only way you could change your net worth statement is not through your network, by the way. I know there's a fun little saying, your network is your net worth is your investments.
Yeah.
And you can hang around, you could hang around 5 billionaires, but if you don't invest like they do, you ain't gonna become a billionaire. Just because I hang with an Elon don't make me a damn scientist. So you gotta be a scientist to be a scientist, and you gotta invest to change your net worth. And so I look forward to you guys throwing some money in this deal, and then watch what I do with it. You know Lewis House?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Lewis has invested millions with me.
Well,
I send him money every single month.
I love that. I send him money every month. Well, this is when you start elevating your game and you start, brushing shoulders, right? This is, you just automatically elevate your game. So
1,000.
I really truly appreciate you. So is there anything next that's from you and Cardone Capital, that anyone can, look forward to, even, bigger than what we're up to now?
Well, we're doing an event here in Miami in December 13th, 14th, 15th. Anybody who wants to come down to that, when you invest $1,000, I'll send you the virtual link. If you want to come in person, call our office, and we'll sell you a seat to it. It's how to learn how to invest in real estate. There'll be about 2,000 people there and probably another 10,000 online. That's a tremendous event. We're doing our 10X Growth Conference in March. My wife does 10X Ladies in February. We always got a lot of stuff going on here. The most important thing, though, is this real estate, because this is big for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Grant, so much for spending time with me. Your day, my night. You're awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really super excited to dig deeper into the fund and get involved and to really encourage others to just do it, because these are opportunities that don't come by very often. So with that, my friend, thank you
so much.
Thanks
okay,
so
thank
much.
you, Rhonda. I appreciate
Be
you.
unstoppable, my man. We'll see you soon.
Okay, be great.
Cheers. Wow, what was that, right? Just interviewing Grant Cardone. But you know what I love the most is his true authenticity. You know, you can watch him on social media and he's big and bold, but what he's doing is something that's never been done before. And I'm just so deeply impressed with not only his humbleness, but his willingness to put himself in the line. And to me, that shows character, that's integrity, and that's someone that is willing to do something bigger and to take a lot of flack for it, right? How often do you become a selfless hero, stand up for someone else, do something bigger than you could ever imagine, and are willing to take that stand for others? This is the conversation we're having tonight. So I hope that you look into what Cardone is doing and where the financial sector's at and these investments that are putting together, because this is something that we need to start doing now to protect our future. I know Grant always says it's not about the cash flow you have, it's about the investments you have that makes you wealthy, and this is the time. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for being here on the show, and make sure you give me some noise down below. What did you think of that interview? That was pretty amazing, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Be unstoppable and stay wild.